archetype, because I mean, there's some things he could have done, but we're in the game.
Yeah, and we see Evolved Shaman versus Jade Druid. Usually a matchup that is pretty favored for the Shaman, because it's just so hard for Druid to clear the board over and over again, and like eventually if you let Shaman snowball the board, you get blown out by Bloodlust. And also the combo Doppelgangster Evolve is like really hard for Druid to beat.
I think there's definitely ways to beat the small board stuff, but then it's like you waste your swipe, you waste your Ras, and then on 6 double gangster revolt comes out. You're just like, oh, can't beat this. But we saw Maverick. He had 3 ramp cards, so he's gonna get into his sweepers super early. So that's really good for him.
Yeah, Druid can always do Druid things where they just get way ahead on mana early and take control from there. For example, the Evolved Shaman has a lot of trouble dealing with Primordial Drake, because the only real answer is really Devolve, and devolving Primordial Drake in the 7-drop is pretty weak.
You never want to deal 8 damage like from board or from your hand to a minion like as a shaman, and like you said, like a 4/8's pretty bad stats for an 8-drop, so you don't ever want to devolve it.
We see Maverick realizing that it's very important that he fights for board here, and like he only gets 1 card out of this Gadgetzan Auctioneer, but he can follow it up with Primordial Drake.
Yeah, he really just wants this 5/5 to trade into his Gadgetzan. That's the whole plan here. Or even like we see a Jade Claws in the hand. That's like one of the ways, or even like Jade Lightning on the 4/4. He still has great Primordial Drake with the 3/3, so I really like that play. But with that evolved top deck, it's pretty hard to do it this turn. You kind of always expect the Primordial Drake. You kind of have to play around it every time. It's like that one turn where it's like, okay, this is a good Primordial Drake. Does he have it? He does it, and then you can like flood the board because you know he doesn't have it. But
yeah, but Elmachico sadly doesn't have the Jade Lightning, so he probably is gonna need to trade the thing from below into the Auctioneer anyway, and know that he's gonna be pretty weak to Primordial Drake. But it's all fine, because he could have Jade Claws and sent it to Fire Elemental and Firefly in, and that way trade with Auctioneer, but he realizes how powerful Doppelgangster plus Evolve is on the next turn, so he thinks it's totally okay to sacrifice his thing from below for this.
And this 1/2 is a potential like or 1/4 before. It was like it's better than the 2/2 Jade he would have gotten, because then nothing would have been able to trade. So
that's an above average evolve. Getting a 8/8 and a 7/6 is...
The 4-drop was really bad, but the rest they're really good.
Yeah. Overall an above average one. Getting that 8/8 especially to trade into the Primordial Drake is like so huge here.
But Maverick also picked up Aya here. He was running a little bit low on gas. He kind of wasted his Gadgetzan just to fight for board and only drew 1 card. But his Jades are getting pretty big. Aya's going to spawn a 4/4 and a 5/5. And all you want to do as the Jade is play around Bloodlust, fight for board, just try not to die. And I mean, it's going to be hard this turn. Like, there's always that potential of devolve Bloodlust, and he has a lot of power on board as the Shaman here.
I don't know how much you can play around as Maverick here, but personally the play I really like is just put Aya down to fight more for the board, and then Earthen Scales the Primordial Drake to trade into the Faceless Summoner. He decides to Hero Power instead, which is fine. He's gonna have 2 spare mana this turn anyway, but I think I would have liked to seen the Earthen Scales just to preserve a bit more life.
What do we... Okay. I mean, this makes a little bit... No, it does. I don't really see why we did this.
I guess it sets up this way to trade the Aya into the 7/6, but it's also kind of ambitious, I feel like. Like, how do you really expect this to work out? It's... I think it's being a little bit too optimistic.
I mean, he did play around late Jade Lightning pretty well with on the Drake with this kind of play, but it's still very, like you said, very ambitious to think that Aya's gonna get a good trade here.
And we also know that there wasn't Jade Lightning in Elmachico's hand on the turn we played Auctioneer, because that was super obvious play to just Jade Lightning it. So I don't think it's like I think Maverick doesn't have to play around Jade Lightning.
I mean, it does kind of work out for him here,
Yeah.
just in the way it played out. He does get the trade into the 7/6, which he really wanted. But that innervate, if that was a draw card or something like that, I would have really liked the spot he's in. But that 8/8 is very, very threatening still.
Yeah, but it's frozen next turn, and next turn Maverick can just trade into with his huge shades at this point.
But he still needs a top deck though.
Yeah, it's very dependent on this round.
Ooh.
That is.
That would have been lethal last turn.
That is a scary devolve. Like these jades actually turn into real threats from this, but no taunt, and that's I guess what Elmachico wanted. Now he can bloodlust for 8 and hope there's no feral rage, and they already saw Earthen Scales, and then Alakir ends it next turn.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been very happy with that devolve if I was Elmachico there. Ooh, not like this.
That is the worst draw in Maverick's deck.
By far.
A lot.
By far. So, can you clear? Yeah, I mean, you can always clear.
Yeah, even if you can clear, you're dead to Alakir next turn.
Yeah,
so.
sure. But as Maverick, you just have to hope.
I feel like Maverick got pretty unlucky here in the end, but then again, he had like such an absurd start, and you can't always expect it to work out.
I mean, we would have seen that. There's not that many cards that would have saved him here, right? It's only a taunt or healing, which is pretty unlikely at this point in this deck. So
he has 2 Feral Rage, an Earthen Scales, and like
1 Jade Behemoth.
Yeah, 1 Jade Behemoth, but also Nourish probably finds you out because you have the Innervate even if you would draw Jade Behemoth.
Sure, but we're still pretty low percentage on hitting like a savior card there.
Yeah, I think it's like more realistic that he misses than he actually saves.
Yeah, for sure.
And game 1, to Elmachico.
Good job.
Yeah.
He played it like he's supposed to. He's flooding the board early, waiting for that bloodlust turn, and then he got a little bit fortunate that Maverick missed on 2 draws, but you also saw that it's pretty rare that on turn he ramped 3 times, so turn 8, like Jades are already at like 6/6, 7/7, so
they were huge. I think the most important part of that game, the key point, is where Elmachico realized how powerful his Doppelgangster Evolve combo is, and he decided to take the inconvenient trade with Thing from Below into Auctioneer instead of going for the Jade Claws. And that turn, he got Doppelgangster Evolve off a turn earlier, where a lot of players would probably see the clean kill on Auctioneer and take it.
I was just looking to see if the Shaman really needed to win against Maverick, but this Shaman win was most likely always going to happen. It had 3 really good matchups against Maverick, so it's not the biggest of deals if you're a Maverick fan.
A win is a win.
A win is always a win. It's always great, but it was one of those where in Conquest, you never really see Shaman like struggle super, super hard. It does often get its win, so it's not like the target deck for Maverick, so it's not like one of those super, super important ones.
And here we see Quest Rogue versus Maverick's Freeze Mage, but the Freeze Mage that plays Mana Wyrm together with the Frostnova Doomsayer. Something we've seen a lot of mages do lately. This is one of the matchups that Freeze Mage is supposed to prey upon. Just because stalling the board continuously with Frostnova and Blizzards is really good versus a deck that relies on killing you with 5/5s. And then you have all these burns and ice block to stall for time and kill the opponent.
What do you think of this as Elmachico? Like, when he has 2 bouncers and Mimic Pod, I would have been very tempted to go coin Mimic Pod and then bounce whatever you draw. Just to ensure that we always get the quest off.
But that way you're relying on that we find a 1-drop from this Mimic Pod, which I guess is kinda likely.
Yeah.
But I don't hate going for Firefly Coin Bouncer. Since we have 2, we're quite likely to find another one by the time we need a third.
Why didn't we go for Coin Bouncer here?
Yeah, I actually don't really get that play, but I guess Elmachico was confident enough that his Firefly would live this turn. Maverick would have 2 Volcanic Potion or Frostbolt it to kill it, so...
But then okay, so we save the Flame Elemental just in case it dies. But what do we do now, though? Maybe we still Mimic Pod.
Now, since we didn't go for it last turn, I kind of
Yeah.
like the Mimic Pod backstab line. That way, we're probably gonna get pinged and or Firefly's dead, but we can still quest with Flame Elemental, or if we pick up a 1-drop here.
Yeah.
And we do.
Not the greatest of 1-drops, though. You'd never want to quest on Stone Tuskboar.
Yeah, but then again, aren't you like always kind of happy to have a sure turn 5 quest?
Sure. I mean, it is fine by any means. It's just you would have liked to seen maybe. There's definitely better ones, right?
Yes, for sure.
Not bad draws here from Maverick. We can go with double 1/3. Draw some more cards. We still have the Frost Nova Doomsayer, which should get us value in the future. Do we do that?
That is really slow.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that we need to go for it, because if we do a fast quest and then prep out the quest, I feel like we can put the mage under so much pressure.
We can quest next turn, right?
Yes, we can.
So that's good. Do we ever throw this 1/1 into the Mana Worm just to let him not get a free draw?
Don't we want to play the Stone Tuskboar again? No, there's no reason.
Yeah, we can still quest. Yeah, we can always quest if we don't. 2, 4. No, we can't. So we have to play 2.
Okay.
You're right, you're right.
So if you have to play another Stone Tuskboar this turn, it's absolutely correct to go face with the Firefly, because we're gonna have a 1/1 in play anyway. So might as well have 2.
Yeah, he's doing it correctly.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have thrown both into the Mana Worm here, but that seems really really weird.
That's a lot of sacrificed 5/5s, if you ask me.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Maverick knows that this Stone Tuskboar came from Mimic Pod. Even though they're not allowed to use deck tracker, that's just something you keep track of.
It's pretty hard.
It's
it
one
is.
turn later. I bet that Maverick knows that there's another Stone Tuskboar in hand.
I mean, I would also think so, because you wouldn't do this with Stone Tuskboar when you have like a Flame Elemental in hand if you didn't get off Mimic Pod, right?
Yeah, there's some red flashing signs that
for sure.
the quest is gonna be completed next turn. He can. You usually have to hope that they don't have prep to go with it, but sadly that's the case.
I mean, the way Elmachico did this, like just throwing out a Stone Tuskboar, it does, like you said, throw out red flags. Like this quest is gonna come out next turn, 100%. So we're looking for a counterspell here.
Not really. Arcane Intellect plus ping.
It's alright.
Not really the worst.
Nope. I like
Polymorph is. I've seen so many people do it, but does not work post quest. It only creates a 5/5 sheep that is gonna kill you just as much as any other.
Oh, this is interesting. He pushes some extra damage, which is very relevant in this matchup, but he knows Stone Tuskboar is gonna have charge next turn.
To be able to kill the mana.
Yeah.
I guess he just wants to slow it down a little bit, take a tad less damage from 5/5s that Youthful Brewmaster would become on this turn.
Sure.
He's really aware that there's probably a preparation in hand by the way Elmachico played it. So.
And Elmachico doing the trade here every time.
Yep.
You just don't want the mage to do damage to you. That's how you lose this matchup. This is going to be an interesting turn.
I think that Maverick is in a really good spot. We said that this was Freeze Mage favored, but if you're not able to push the damage early as the mage, it's really hard to deal 26 while you're getting hit by 5/5s.
We always start with Arcane Intellect here, right?
Yeah. Arcane Intellect.
We want to set up the Frost Nova Doomsayer. What we have to remember though is that Patches hasn't been drawn from the deck, so where the Charge Pirate kills the Doomsayer, that's really good. Then it kind of just swings. But if this Doomsayer lives, it's pretty scary.
Yeah, but you kind of have to take risks.
Yeah, of course.
Elmachico played Quest on turn 5 together with a charge minion, so you're already in a bad spot. And it seems like it's gonna pay off, depending on what this Novice Engineer gives him.
Yep. We always Novice. We can Shadow Step it. We can do a lot of things with it, so. Oh, double Shadow Step. Makes this interesting. I still think we draw. Like, we could kill the Doomsayer, but No, they were wasting so much here.
You get to play an extra Igneous Elemental, and Maverick would need a second Doomsayer to deal with this board, so I don't think that it's totally unreasonable for Elmachico to think that Maverick is going to have lots of trouble to deal with this. Even think that his sample list doesn't even run Blizzards, so it's really just one Frost Nova, one Doomsayer left that could punish Elmachico for display.
Sure.
I like it.
I mean, you always do want to kill the Doomsayer, but I just thought it's pretty likely that we find it anyways with the Novice. And this way, we don't have any more card draw. Like, I want to cycle, but maybe that's just a bad idea.
Yeah, I think it's unnecessarily greedy at this point.
Yeah, I guess. I might just be undervaluing how good of a spot the Rogue is actually in at this point with...
Like, we can get this guaranteed. We have 5/5/5s on board. Are we really gonna pass up on that?
Yeah, I guess not. What do we think of that play?
I don't...
When he goes face...
What would you like to see instead?
Like, this I don't really like because we're trading away the potential, like, we're taking damage, which we don't need to.
Yes.
And we could have played 2 more 5/5s if we trade the Igneous Elemental. This damage is really relevant against Mage. Like, this might just lose him the game, right?
Yeah, with that second Ice block Tron, I think it's just game. Look, Valet Frostbolt this turn.
Yeah.
You pop block. Next turn, we block again, and
Yeah.
Fireball, and then Pyroblast. So Elmachico deciding to take those 5 damage instead of trading in the Igneous Elemental actually just lost him the game outright.
Yeah. It doesn't make much sense because like the thing he's might be thinking here is if Maverick finds freeze, he can pop with a any charge, but that's also not really the case because most chargers drop patches as well. So trading that 5 damage in was actually fine most of the time because most of his chargers in his deck actually summon patches. So
yeah. No, I think it's, even without the Igneous Elemental, I personally, sure, we can see both players' hand, but I don't think that's a very close decision.
yeah. Yeah, I really dislike that.
And I don't think there's any Swashbucklers or either of Secrets in Elmachico's deck, so this should just be game.
I mean, we can see. It would be pretty weird to have an Inquest Rogue, but... Yeah, there's definitely no draw here. Ooh, wait, he can draw... No, he doesn't run... He doesn't even run Swashbucklers,
Yeah.
so that wasn't an out for him, like for the 5 damage. He couldn't draw Swashbuckler and summon patches that way, so then I really dislike taking 5 there. I mean, might as well vanish, but there's... When you don't run Swash, you just don't have any outs, right?
Looks like Elmachico kind of realized what happened here, and yeah, you can see him looking a bit stressed out about this.
And you just kind of know when they put you at this spot, it doesn't feel good.
He even pinged his Medivh's Valet. It's like, hey, Machiko, I got it.
I mean, Maverick also knows the deck list, so he's very certain that there's just no way he could ever find... Because no Eater of Secrets, because who would play then Quest Rogue, and no Swashbuckler, there's no way to find, like, Counterspell, Ice Block, stuff like that, so...
How much do you think that... Did you see the thank you emote at the end of the game?
Oh, he actually threw it out?
He threw it out.
Nice.
And you could see that it really hit Machiko. He's like,
Yeah.
both players know that this could have easily been prevented.
I mean, I'm not a guy that usually emotes, but I don't mind it very much. Like, just one of those things where it's very hard in Hearthstone, like, on your side, because you don't see your opponent's cards, obviously, to see if they misplay. But that was one of those times Maverick just knows that was just a bad idea to take that 5 damage, and then throwing out the thank you emotes just to say, oh, I know you fucked up, and you know it too.
Yeah.
So I like it. I like the style. I like the style.
Okay, so Elmachico going straight back to the Rogue, and Maverick, I guess, kind of predicts this by choosing Paladin, because generally, if Quest Rogue doesn't run crabs, this is a pretty good matchup for this more aggressive Murloc Paladin, at least.
Yeah, Murloc Paladin was definitely the best deck against this Quest Rogue from Maverick that he has left, and this list looks super aggressive. Playing Blue Go Warrior, then you just want to go face, right?
he still has the end game, right, of Tyrion and Primordial Drake. We've seen some crazy people run Grimscale Oracles and
Oh,
Divine Favor,
he even
so
runs
it's not
equality.
quite that. I think this is very close to something that Exeres, the Norwegian player, played, but
Okay.
he also didn't have the Curator package, but had Leon hands instead. But other than that, it looks almost identical to
Okay.
what he used to run.
And we don't like that patch of straw. You never want to see that guy.
Okay, so on the bright side, Quest Rogue is one of the more forgiving decks for drawing patches.
Sure.
Like, sure, you never want to draw patches, but
Sure.
if you're gonna draw it in any deck, you'd prefer to do it in Quest Rogue.
Yep, I agree.
But that doesn't say that Elmachico doesn't feel bad about it.
Yeah, and this is gonna get super value traded. Or do you actually trade it? You could set up the noble sack. Nah, you don't do that. I mean, you could go rockpool noble sack. I like that go face. I think I would do that.
Yeah, that way, by doing display, that means that
There's no
Elmachico,
kid train.
sure, he gets the opportunity to sacrifice his Ignis Elemental, which you usually want to do as soon as possible.
Yep.
But at least Maverick saves his Hydrologist that way.
Yeah, Maverick sees the. Ooh, that's good.
Second Ignis Elemental. We just quest on Ignis.
I mean, we quest on the flame elementals after the Ignis dies,
Yeah.
but
I actually played a game with Eloise on ladder a few tournaments ago, where we were playing Miracle Rogue with 2 saps, and we just sapped the Ignis Elemental because hey, good value, right? But it ended up that he actually quested on Ignis Elemental, and we felt pretty done.
I like that he does this. He trades into the 3-1 like before anything's like he can happen. Like, well, I don't know what could happen, but I still like it because you get the 1 mana where you can actually play the 1/2 as well.
Yeah, just an extra mana for Flame Elementals, which time is definitely of the essence here.
Like we could have taken the value trade against the the Rockpool, and just hit it down to 2-1, and then we can always hit in again.
But then what are we doing? Are we playing patches for a 1 mana this turn to finish off the rock
No,
pool?
that's why I like this because we have 1 extra mana.
Okay, cool. Then we're in agreement.
Yep.
Not too many good adapts here from the Megasar. Obviously, Megasar was an amazing top deck that turn,
Yep.
but the adapts are kind of lackluster. But health.
I mean,
not bad.
health is pretty good, right?
It would be even better if we had, say, a Murloc War Leader to keep snowballing the board.
I mean, it means that Elmachico can't trade into the 3-4.
Yep.
The health was actually pretty good.
He needs to just throw his guy in again, which is...
I like the value trade here.
Yeah,
we don't really care about the 2 damage. We're gonna deal a lot of damage anyways, so.
Preparation might have...
Oh, that is so good.
Oh, Elmachico straight back at it with the BM. I like it.
I mean, it's the best draw in this deck. We quest this turn. Next turn we have buff and patches or vanish if we feel like we're in a bad spot. But like we just love to see the 5/5s come out here.
So as Maverick here, you know that you're never really winning a long game. It's going to be very hard to grind out infinite 5/5s pretty much. So you kind of have to turn into racing here, but how likely is it that we're going to win a race against these flame elementals?
Like the problem I have with racing here is we only deal 10, right? And we need to find a way to deal 11 more damage. We do run an equality though.
We do.
If we're Maverick.
So our plan is to just get very aggressive, make Elmachico make the trades, and then with top deck or equality, go for equality consecration. Elmachico probably doesn't have a lot of gas left after that because he kind of needs to overcommit since he's doing the trades.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we can coin Tyrion, and Tyrion is
it's just really good.
Such a backbreaker versus Quest Rogue. Even it like when they're low on life, it's so brutal because you actually have to sacrifice 3 guys into it. But if you're on a high life total, you can just stagger it to pop the Divine Shield and then sacrifice 2.
It's going to be really interesting to see what Elmachico does next turn, how he decides to make his trades, and if he can start going phase. Because, I mean, I think he would also be a little bit scared of some equality turns, something like that. But he doesn't want to give the Murloc Paladin a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, when you see this line, you know that the Paladin is going for one thing and one thing only, and that's kind of what you have to prevent here. So even though like you kind of don't want to. You know, there's this one equality in Maverick's deck. You can't really afford to undercommit because then you're just losing to the board. And you know,
Yeah.
there's Bluegill warriors and stuff that burst you down. So I would really expect him to go Bilefin, Gadget, Bilefin,
Dolphin.
or Bilefin, Gadget. Patches is fine as well, but I think I prefer the other line. Just set up 2 taunts.
It was really close this turn for me if we were gonna go Vanish, actually. Vanish would have pushed 15 damage face.
Put him to 15.
And clear the board for next turn. Then we can set up all the 5/5s. And if we top deck another charger, or if like Marco top decks another charger, he just wins the game.
Yeah, but
so
there's also the secret up. So after
we pushed. He would have pushed 10. It's
I mean,
true.
Doesn't that line change the second you see that there's a noble sacrifice? Because then all of a sudden you only push 10. So it's possible that Elmachico was gonna go for that line, but after seeing the noble sacrifice had to change.
The thing is though that like with 6 mana, Maverick can never set up as good of a board. I guess maybe you don't want to give him the Megasaur back, because then he could find poisonous and then get through the 5/5s that way.
Yep.
But I still think it's pretty close. I guess you do set up a lot of lethals here too, but
this way you push him down to 3 and have a potential win with Tyrion, right?
yeah, Tyrion's really good next turn.
Yeah, that's what you have to go for. You can.
The problem with that is, do we know he has patches? No, he hasn't played any pirates, right? So you're super scared of like South Sea Deckhand. That's 10 damage. So
yep.
I think I actually would trade here. Tyrion is a really big threat, no matter if he's at 8 or if he's at 3. So
you can.
I actually think you trade both.
You really
here.
just need to push him down to 5 because it's the Ashbringer's job to finish this game. So you can leave it with only 10 power on board. Only 10 power. Oh, I mean, 15 power. I don't like this. I would have probably. I actually forgot that the Rockbull Hunter had attacked.
I mean, trading saved him this way, but
it doesn't set up lethal in any way. He has to top deck a second Consecration.
But this way, we put him to 6. That means he can't dagger into Tyrion, which means he has to put 3 of his dudes in, which is really annoying. But we do have to top deck, that is true. Again here, we have to trade, we're at 6.
But do we have to these trades? Like this way we actually kill a 5/5.
Yeah, I don't know why we're making that trade.
Like I would just like to see the 2 pirates going into the dudes and save 25 power on board. This way we actually do open ourselves up to Tyrion to some extent.
Yeah, the problem I see with this is, like, I would have actually daggered. Wait, no, never mind. I wouldn't have daggered, because of weapons. But like, maybe there was a way of playing where Vanish is always lethal, but it's like maybe leaving the 3/1 was, I guess, just really bad.
These lines are super close. We actually see Maverick get rewarded. He decided to not set up lethal with Tyrion, got saved because he actually would have died to the Deckhand Patches combo. And now he top decked the 1 Consecration that pushes that 1 extra damage that Ashbringer couldn't do. So.
Yeah. There's the Vanish this turn. What do we do with... like, we always do Vanish.
Yes. 100%. And then we can't really play both Chargers, because that way we actually just lose if he plays Tyrion again. So
do we, though? I mean,
we
right? Don't really, because we can just play Bilefin.
But if we play Bilefin and we draw a bouncer of either Mimic Pod or naturally from the draw, we actually have lethal next turn for Tyrion. So I personally really like this.
I think it's kind of the same either way.
What about Flame Elemental Charger?
Yeah, this is fine too.
This is like a middle of the road line, but I actually think it's the one I like the most. This way we can still deal with Tyrion. We're gonna have a fresh 5/5 taunt.
We can never deal with Tyrion though with a bouncer. Like, we can never get through Tyrion and bounce our chargers.
Yeah,
well,
but then we can bounce. Then we can bounce Bilefin, right?
Yeah.
And you set up our defenses and hope there's no equality consecrate.
Or you just do that. So
that works too.
Oh, we're actually going in. I'm
Oh yeah.
surprised.
What? This doesn't surprise me at all. Like, but both lines uses to equality consecrate, and this puts enough taunts on board. So, like anything
Sure.
besides equality consecrate doesn't win against us. It wins
I,
against
I
any
guess
line we take.
both lines do the same thing.
Yeah.
I would have just played 3 Balfins there. Because we can always kill the Tyrion next turn.
Another really close one. I think there were a lot of decisions going into that game that decided the outcome. But Maverick eventually falls short.
I think that that preparation top deck was the most important part of the game.
Oh yeah.
It allowed him to quest very, very early and get the 5/5s instead of getting like a bunch of 1/2s that would have been value traded and not have enough value in the end game.
Yeah, this game was really close in the end, and it would not have been unless that preparation got top decked. But still, past that, there were still a lot of things that both players could have done. Overall, a good game, in my opinion.
Very good game.
And Machiko gets a rogue through. Is that a huge win for him if you look at Maverick's lineup?
I wouldn't say so. He would have had rogue against Jade Druid eventually anyways, which would have been really good. But it's always when I think both of these players don't really have like the most like grand plan. They just have good decks, and then just wins matter a lot.
Yeah, and that's usually like the best strategy in self-ban format as well. I actually just think it's such a simple change that makes Conquest way more enjoyable to play. You get to ban a deck yourself.
Yeah.
But maybe it suits better best of 7 and not as good as best of 5s. I haven't really played the format much, but it really felt like when preparing for this event that you just wanted to play the good decks.
Yeah. So we see Elmachico picking up the Mana Worm in his Gunter Mage, I would imagine this is.
Yeah.
When you see that Gluttonous Ooze, it kind of screams Medivh Mage, just because you don't really need it in Freeze Mage.
I really like how Elmachico has no chill after that one emote from Maverick, and now he's emoting
he's just
him
emoting
non-stop.
every turn.
I think that if I'm Maverick, I just squelch my opponent at this point, but it's kind of funny to, as caster to see some friendly banter between the two.
Best start in the game.
Here we'll see if Maverick actually has squelled Elmachico or not, because if he hasn't squelled, she's 100% emoting back here.
The question is if we actually do it. We always do, because otherwise ping is just too good. We want to make this 2/3 trade into I'm so bad with
Arcanologist trade into the Murloc Tidecaller.
Yeah.
Leaves a Rockbull Hunter and a Wildfin Inquisitor at 3 health each, which is huge against a deck that plays double Volcanic Potion.
No emote though, so I guess he's fine with it.
I guess he's squelch. Feels bad, man.
We did see the Medivh LA pick-up. Really good with the secret. Means that he can kill the Rockbull Hunter next turn, or I mean kill whatever comes out this turn. If Maverick would have found like a Murloc War Leader, would have had a great answer to it, which you're super happy to have.
Yeah, so if Maverick doesn't War Leader, you just kill one of the minions on board, and if you War Leaders, you kill the War Leader.
Yeah.
So this Medivh Soleil is gonna be great no matter what next turn.
And with the Redemption, it's even better, right? Because you get a ping target too.
Yeah, otherwise you wouldn't get value
Cabal
from the ping.
Courier. That's not a card I've seen in a while.
We've seen that card get phased out of Mage a lot.
For sure.
Instead, you usually play Acolyte of Pain instead, because in a combo deck, drawing cards from your own
You
deck.
play Acolyte.
Well, are you telling me that Freeze Mage doesn't run Acolyte of Pain?
Yeah, but I mean this isn't Freeze Mage though. There's no freeze in it.
Yeah, but even George C's list, that is probably the most popular Medivh Mage, even though it's kind of old right now, plays Harrison Jones and like not Cabal Courier, and plays card draw instead, even if it isn't Acolyte of Pain. I think it's like people kind of figure out that if you're playing a combo deck, you want to draw cards from your own deck because your deck is so synergistic with itself.
Sure.
Even though this Cabal Courier can give you a lot of free wins.
What does Feeding Time do?
It deals 3 damage to a minion and summon 3 1/1 beasts, Petrodaxis or something. They have a weird name.
That's a pretty bad 5-drop. Or 5-mana card.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah.
But it deals with the board. 1/1s is not that easy for Maverick to deal with, I suppose.
Yeah, turn 8 he has Primordial Drake, but before that it's pretty hard. Especially when he's always gonna pick the Sunkeeper, right? There's no question. Lord of the Arena is just worse.
Yep. Hard to pass up on Sunkeeper Tavern, really. Especially with Rallying Blade equipped, which means that any minion that Elmachico plays could get finished off by Rallying Blade. But Maverick decides to preserve his board instead. I personally wouldn't have minded if Hydrologist traded in, because Machiko plays double Volcanic Potion, which you're pretty vulnerable to with this line, and saving Rallying Blade for the Sunkeeper Tavern is pretty good.
On the other hand, if he didn't have Volcanic Potion, it's set up for a really good Sunkeeper Term. And when you don't have another play, he always kind of wanted to set up for it, though.
Sure, it's the ambitious line, but I think you're in a spot with the Curator in hand. You can get a little bit more greedy and decide to play around a bit more. Personally.
Weren't we always gonna Sunkeeper on 6 if we top deck like blank?
So you mean that, or Rallying Blade might not get value on a minion? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's just like, don't you want the 3/3s over the weapon? Like your own 3/3s.
Yeah, but that Hydrologist is gonna die. That's my point. That I don't think that Hydrologist adds anything to the board, because we're always getting Volcanic Potion there. So
you're not
might
always.
Might as well keep a weapon in play, since we're not holding any more weapons.
There's only 2 Volcanic Potions.
Okay, whatever. I'm right. Let's start.
Okay.
Let's stop arguing about that.
Okay.
I'm kidding. But let's get back to the game. We see Medivh from the top, right?
Yep.
Pretty strong top deck here. Not gonna lie. Backed up.
Might not have been. I don't remember.
Oh.
It was a good card. We can agree on that.
Good card to play on 8. But he's under a lot of pressure. It's actually just 14 life here. And Maverick
14,
can push for a
7.
lot.
He can push for 11 at most, I'm pretty sure.
Which exactly doesn't put him dead to the Consecration in hand.
Yeah. But we get to play a taunt like the Wicker Flame as well if we do Murloc Warrior, Obligo Warrior, Wicker Flame. I don't really see another play. I don't want to waste our quality, because that we can always use that later.
Yep. It's definitely one of the cards we want to use after a few charges have been used of Atiesh.
Like the only card that we're weak to is Flame Strike. Because that's the only card that clears the board here, right?
Especially together here with the Frostbolt.
You always have to ping.
Oh, okay.
Off the little guy.
I mean,
the Frostbolt is just better later, I'm pretty sure. Oh!
Maverick fans hate to see that.
That's a good one.
Medivh conveniently at 3 health, so it survives Primordial Drake and Consecration. If you go for the Quality Consecrate here and hope to top deck a weapon...
I don't think we always... I don't think we ever do it.
Yeah, I agree. But like, if we do it, we're even like... Alex Strasser is just lights out for us.
Yeah. We can always just save a Quality Consecration for when we top deck something that can go with it that can kill him. So I like this line. It's the one I would have chosen as well.
He decides to not use the Polymorph. A very...
baby.
This is brutal. Decides to not use the Polymorph. This is usually one of the cards you put in your deck to answer Spike Ridge Seed, but he realizes that... oh my god, that Tyrion might come down, and like together with that Quality Consecrate that pops you, so he's saving it. Hydrologist is an amazing draw, because this way you can put him to 1 with Consecration and then set Eye for an Eye up. We do know that Elmachico plays both Eater of Secrets, and Alex Ross is still left that would save him from Eye for an Eye. This is our hope.
Yeah, this is definitely our
what
hope
we can
here.
Do. What sucks for Maverick is that he doesn't pop him, so even if he were to top deck a weapon, like, we only pop him, we actually don't kill Elmachico, so...
What's this card? Oh, the Pterodactyl, or the Feeding Time. Okay, I'm fine with this. It gets us a 5.
Will you try to pronounce that name? Petrodaxus?
No, thank you. I'm fine.
Okay. If you say so.
So we have 6, 9, 12. Right now. Fireball is lethal. No, it's not.
Not anymore. Primordial Glyph can always pick up fun stuff.
But, I mean, we know that there's no card that can get him through the The ice block, there's no Eater Secret, something like that in the paladin, so we're very happy with this. We can clear the board. We still deal 6 damage. Just sets up for lethal next turn.
As Maverick used both hydrologies, he did, right?
Yeah, he did.
Then I think it's pretty much lights out here. We can pop him, but then we just die to the backswing.
Yep.
So we have to Megasar Spike Ridged. And, well, Elmachico still is block up, so it's gonna be
It's
really
lethal
hard.
with Knuckles.
Oh, right. Do you know the German name of Knuckles?
I don't.
Dr. Fist.
Dr. Fist, that's the
Yep,
German name?
That's the German name. If I recall
Nice.
correctly, it's in some language.
Nice.
Knuckles' name
Dr.
is Dr.
Fist.
Fist.
That's a lot better than Knuckles, I must say.
Absolutely. If I were to play Knuckles at any point, I just change my BattleNet to German so I can see it.
I mean, it's like, it's kind of weird. Oh, is it Dr. Fist in German or in English?
No, I think it's in English, but
Yeah, okay.
it's a
okay,
translation.
Okay. It's
Ah,
a
okay,
translation.
okay.
All right.
You got me there.
That makes a lot more sense. That makes a lot more sense.
What's the score now? 3-1?
It's 3-1.
Elmachico.
Elmachico's doing it. His last deck is... That's his deck. It's J Druid.
I really like the way he's been playing this game, except the game he lost. But other than that, I think he's consistently been taking the right lines,
Yep,
and
for
I've
sure.
been impressed so far.
He's had some nice draws, but playing it well, that's what we like to see.
Yep.
For sure. So, if you're Elmachico here, you have J Druid left against the Paladin, the Mage. No, the Mage
No,
won.
the Mage won.
That's the most important part here. The Mage has already won. That's your best matchup with J Druid. So you have 2 unfavored with Rogue and Paladin, and then a Mirror. So we're not out of the woods yet here.
It's like, you're always very happy being up 3-1, but you could be in a better spot. Elmachico doesn't have that amazing matchups, and this one is especially bad.
Yeah, if you can find some early ramp, and the Paladin obviously misses on its early stuff, it's really fine to be the J Druid, because your minions just get big.
Just get big.
They just get big.
Not quite the easy druid.
No,
easy,
not that big, but they get big. But we saw that
medium-sized druid.
double hydrologist picking. Ooh, baby.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
But Maverick luckily has the tools to deal with like 2/2s here. The Jade Spirits are gonna make them spiral out of control quite quickly.
I really like this lane.
Same.
Oh, he goes face even. I like that even more.
Yes, I was just gonna say, and then it takes the trade here, and then you see him go face. Like, that's better.
Yeah.
Good job, Maverick. This way, we still have Redemption up, so it's gonna be a little bit more inconvenient for Machiko to deal with this War Leader. We could also decide to just go for the Rallying Blade here, but I think this is where you take the War Leader value, especially when you have it backed up by a second
now
one.
we trade though, right?
Oh yes, for sure. Because if we don't trade and Elmachico just trades back into the War Leader and Hero Powers it, all of a sudden he got great value trades. But if you take the trades here, then
how do we trade?
That's a good question. I'll let you figure that one out. Go.
Yeah, 4/4 into the 3/3 seems fine. Then we have to trade that. Yeah, so I mean, it was pretty easy trades, but so swipe top deck would have been great. I was about to say,
and it is.
And it is.
But Maverick set up for this. He was well aware that swipe was a card that Elmachico was like really looking for here. And set up so, well, it's a full clear, but at least Elmachico had to work a lot for it.
Yeah, for sure. It's not like he could develop a Jade or something like that, so he still gets to develop this turn into a Spiker's Gene potentially next turn. Would you like to see the Valfin plus the Redemption here?
Oh yeah, I really have no idea why we're in a rush to play the Stonehill Defender. Like, sure, getting Sunkeeper Tarim is nice. We're probably gonna pick Tyrion here because the way we sequenced this. But after just seeing us swipe, I think that
you wanted to go War Leader,
and no, especially from the top two. I like Hero Power Inquisitor, Hero Power. We put two Murlocs on board that way, and then we have the choice between Spike Ridge Steed or War Leader Redemption Hero Power next turn. Both which seemed like amazing lines to
The
me.
problem with that for me is that it doesn't really set up that well for Spike Seed. This play, oh, you always get Spike Seed off. So that's why I like this a lot.
Yeah, but we have no pressure behind the Spike Ridge lead. That's my problem with this line, really.
Ooh,
Like,
tempo 3/3.
we're gonna Spike Ridge seed here, and we have a grand total of 4 power on board against Jade
We have
cards that are getting quite big.
4 attack.
Well, yeah,
We have a
4
lot of
power.
health.
Woo.
Woo.
You know, these Jades are
You
getting
almost-
bigger
you
and
almost-
bigger, and
You almost mimicked the sound of the Jade Spirit.
I'm just role playing. What can I say?
Woo!
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 We also just got a news that we have 15k people watching. So
That's
thanks,
awesome.
thanks everyone for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the stream. We certainly enjoyed this event. So,
Well, me more than you because I'm still in it.
oh God. Okay, I'm out. Goodbye, everyone.
He decides to take the super value train. Does that play around anything?
It's not like we're pushing for a lot anyway, so might as well take the value trade, right?
I mean, the real value trade was the 3/3, but we're maybe always expecting. I don't know.
I think this is up slightly better against Elmachico's removal options, or at least I'm gonna assume so because he did the play.
Yeah, I didn't really look. But Aya there was a great top deck again. He needed some gas. Like, we don't really want to play Nourish yet because we want to fight for this board really, really badly. We just don't want to give it up to the Paladin. That's how we're losing this. Like, our Jades are getting really, really big. We have this Primordial Drake as a clear option. But to do that, we kind of need the board.
Yeah. And if there's a card in Hearthstone's history that's like so amazing in these close board battles, it's Aya.
Yep.
Like, she has a lot of power, she's awkward to trade into, you usually have to spend a lot of resources just to trade into her, and she leaves up a body after that.
Okay. I was about to say, why are we trading that 2/2 in? But it makes sense when you do this trade.
And Elmachico
Second swipe.
wastes no time, just points his swipe immediately, he knows exactly what his plan is, exactly what he's gonna do here, looks like a full clear to me, and
he found the right mana play for it too. Like, he needed to hero power this 2/1 down if he wanted to swipe. And then finding a 3-mana Jade card is pretty good.
pretty convenient, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
These are the spots, sure, Maverick can get back. He has Sunkeeper Tarim to kind of deal with these. But the problem is, then you have to win the game after that. It's like, even if you deal with the board, Elmachico just plays another Jade card, and it's a 7/7. And you still have to mount an offense to kill him from 21 life, and
I'm very surprised by this play.
Nourish over Primordial Drake.
Yeah, we had a great Primordial Drake there.
I wouldn't say great.
But what are we nourishing into? We already played both Jade Spears, we played both Jade Blossoms. There's basically no Jade card for less than 6 mana left in our deck.
Okay, if you dislike the Nourish, can I dislike that Wrath? I don't think you're that desperate to clear the board here. You're still at 21, as we just mentioned. And we just want to find more Jade cards. Why are we not drawing with that Wrath? If not on this turn,
Yeah.
like next turn, we could just like Wild Grove for the excess mana. That way we leave our both Auctioneers that's left in our decks out.
I mean, I would have always gone for the Drake, but that maybe just is me. But
Sure, I can see it how Drake is correct, but I agree with. I guess I disagree with both lines Elmachico took. But
he got something off the top.
that's an Auctioneer.
It's a little bit weird that he doesn't think about it, but I guess this is only you have 2 draw cards left in your deck. You have 1 Nourish left and 1 Auctioneer left. So
Don't you have double Innervate as well?
and double Animate. That's true.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good Auctioneer.
Oof.
Like,
Finds the Innervate.
we're looking at these top and like, oh, Elmachico is like going off here. But
Yeah, but he does.
It's expected to. Like,
Yeah.
he's just gonna get like all the cards here.
Finding that second Innervate though, that is. Wait, what?
Why are we not?
Wait,
wrathing here?
what?
Okay, that kind of surprises me.
Wait, what?
If we had a second auctioneer in hand, I could see this line where we decide to not play the Wrath
Wait, what?
because we can cycle it later with auctioneer, but we actually don't have nourish or auctioneer.
Wait, what?
So yeah. I'm trying to make sense of it, but I also can disagree. That being said, Elmachico is still in an amazing spot this game. Yeah, you just create an 8/8 with that with this one mana card. It's pretty hard to lose from there.
I'm just still so stunned.
Eh. A lot of people do this, that when they feel that they're so far ahead, we we can both agree that Elmachico's played the series really well.
Yeah,
He's been playing well.
This game
But-
has been a little bit
but
iffy, but
I know lots of pro players that do it, that when they're ahead, they start to play more sloppy because they're like, oh, this game is won. And I mean, it might lose you very, very few games, but most games when you're this far ahead, it's like if you take a wrong decision at some point, like you're probably not gonna get punished for it.
yeah, okay. I don't mind this Wrath just because we don't really want to give him another Primordial Drake.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see him cycle it otherwise, because again, you want to find your gadgets in.
Now when you have double Jade Behemoth, I don't really know how many cards you expect to need. I think this
Sure.
game is just all locked up. And
Yeah, sure.
Elmachico taking it 4-1. Very impressive stuff.
Like I said, those Jades get big.
They get real
They
big.
get really big.
Really, is that the real easy big
No.
druid
No,
easy?
no.
Okay.
You have to have Barnes in your deck for it to be really easy.
Okay. Well, that he made it look kind of easy.